Hello students, today we're going to learn about another poem written by Robert Frost. And the poem is Fire and Ice. Here the poet has stressed or has spoken largely on the human emotions like desire, hatred, intolerance, greed, etc. All the negative emotions which can be destructive and bring an end to the world if not stopped. So he says that these negative emotions, which are more prominent in today's world, can lead to the end of the world or destruction of mankind or destruction of humanity. So let's see what he says. So Robert Lee Frost, we have already learnt about him in our previous poem, The Dust of Snow. I have already explained to him when he was born and when he died and what are his famous plays and poems and his, the famous awards. I've already explained to you. So I'm not going to the details once again. Rather, if you want, you can read it after the session is done. So we move into the poem without wasting time. Okay, students, so I'm going to read it for you. Some say the world will end in fire, some say in ice. From what I've tasted of desire, I hold with those who favor fire. But if it had to perish twice, I think I know enough of hate to say that for destruction, ice is also great and would suffice. So here, I'll read it once more for you all. Some say the world will end in fire, some say in ice. From what I've tasted of desire, I hold with those who favor fire. But if it had to perish twice, I think I know enough of hate to say that for destruction ice is also great and would suffice. So here, the rhyming way, as I explained to you in the previous poem, it was ABA. So now here, if we see, let us say the rhyming pattern. Here, the last word is fire, then we have ice, then we have desire and fire. So if we notice in the first stanza, the last word fire, if we take fire as A and ice as B, now is fire rhyming with ice? No, it doesn't. Whereas fire, desire, it does rhyme. Fire, fire, it does rhyme. So here the pattern is A, B, A, A. So the rhyming pattern in the first stanza is A, B, A, A. Now if we come to the second stanza, we have twice, hate, ice, great, suffice. So twice rhymes with ice, again ice rhymes with suffice, and hate rhymes with great. So if we see this pattern, if we take twice as A, so it's A, B, A, B, A. A, B, A, B, A. So this is the pattern. So anytime if you want to know the sequence, or even if you get a question, what is the rhyming scheme or rhyming pattern of the first stanza? So you immediately can just look into the last words and take the first word as A and the last word, this is in the first line as A, and the last word in the second line as B. And whichever way it rhymes, you just have to frame it. Like fire is A, ice is B. Again, desire, since it rhymes with fire, it again becomes A. And again here in the last line, fire rhymes with the first line, fire. So here again, this also becomes A. So anything that matches or rhymes with the first word in the first sentence becomes a. Got it? So this is how you see the rhyming scheme or rhyming pattern. Okay. Now let's get into the explanation part. Now here the poet says that some people believe that the world is going to end in fire and some in ice. So who are these people who say that the world is going to end in fire? Now these people are the people who have their religious beliefs, or the people who believe that the religion says the world is going to end in fire. So these are the religious type of people who believe that the world is going to end in fire. Now who are these people who say that the world is going to end in ice? Now these are the people who have a scientific view, who are none other than the scientists. So they believe that in case we have a nuclear war in future, the entire earth is going to get destructed in such a bad way that there is no life which will be alive on this earth, and eventually it will get frozen because there will be such a long winter that there will be only ice and the earth will get frozen. So these are the two views or two belief systems who believe how earth is going to end. Now the author here doesn't believe either of them. He doesn't support either of the views. He doesn't support the religious people or the scientists. What he believes is, out of his own experience about life, he says, from what I've tasted of desire, I hold with those who favor fire. So he says, out of my own experience, I believe that the world is going to end because of hatred, because of intolerance, because of greed in humanity. So fire is nothing but is relating to all the negative aspects of a human. So in today's world, he says, people are so desirous. I mean, they just are thinking about I, me, myself. They are so selfish. They just want to accumulate everything no matter what. They are very heartless towards the feelings of other people or towards the emotions of other people. So he says, the world is just going to end because of the fire. Which fire is that? The fire of hatred, intolerance, or greed, or being unkind. So the world is just going to end this way. And he says, but if it had to perish twice, I think I know enough of hate to say that for destruction ice is also great and would suffice. So now he says that there are two different types. I mean, how a person is going to die. He says that fire burns a man physically, but desire burns him spiritually. The same way, ice freezes a man physically, but what happens to him in the spiritual way? The hatred, the feeling of hatred perishes him or freezes him spiritually. Now, what do you mean by spiritually? Spiritually is nothing but your inner, your soul or your inner self, your conscience, what we call it. You know, no matter what you do, your inner self knows what is right and wrong. So he says, because of fire, physically a person might get burned. Physical means outwardly. So if you touch something hot, or if you touch fire, what happens? It burns the skin, right? So that's what he means. So fire physically burns somebody. You know, your skin can get burnt or it can hurt you. You know, the pain because of fire physically. But then what he says, the feeling of desire. Desire is nothing but the greed. You know, where you feel that I want more. It is me. It is only myself. I have to be happy. It is my family. It is just me alone. I am not bothered about what is happening to other people because it is just me, my family, and myself. So this desire feeling, this feeling of selfishness will perish the person from within, which means you're not going to have a good inner self. Spiritually, your spirit is also dying within. You don't have any kindness left within your soul. You're being so unkind or you're being so selfish that there is nothing good left within you, in your heart, in your soul. So that's what he says. The same way he says ice. Ice also, what does ice do? It freezes a man. So if you're, let us say, you put your hand in the freezer and you take it out, or you even hold ice for some time, what happens? It becomes numb, isn't it? Because of the cold. So the ice also freezes a person. But what about the hatred, the feeling of hatred? When you hate something, it again freezes your inner self, because what does hatred do? When you hate somebody for something due to any reason, you again cannot be kind towards them, isn't it? You can't, your mind and heart doesn't allow you to be kind, or doesn't allow you to help them, because it has turned into a rock, or it has frozen your heart, your mind from within. So what the poet says is, every person in today's world is physically and spiritually perishing. So what is happening? What is physically done can be probably recovered, or it has a remedy. But what about perishing within? When you're spiritually, or when you are just turning yourself into more of a selfish person from within, is there any remedy for that? So he says, when people are becoming selfish, when people are becoming unkind, when people are developing hatred towards each other, when they are not being kind and loving towards each other, this is where the world will really start to die, where the destruction of the world will start. So he says, I think this is more than enough. I mean, the feeling of hatred, that's what he says. To say for destruction, eyes is also great and would suffice. That means here eyes is nothing but hatred. So he says, I think hatred is enough. Sufficient is, suffice means sufficient or enough. So he says, I think hatred is more than enough to end the world, to get destruction. Because once you start hating each other, what happens? You don't respect each other. You don't even have that humanitarian feelings. Let us say the other person is in trouble. Do you feel like helping him when you hate him? Obviously not. So when you hate somebody, you can't even help them. You're not good to them. You can't be kind to them. You're not sensitive towards their feelings. So he says all this is enough to destroy the world. I don't think we need fire. I don't think we need anything else. A nuclear war. We don't think, I think people themselves are enough with all these negative attributes in themselves to bring an end to this world. So he's asking all of us to think, where are we going in today's fast forward world, where we are thinking of development, we are thinking of doing something in life, achieving something in life. Are we really uh, you know doing something really great by letting down our values? Are we being that morals and values oriented person? So it's a question mark to all of us, because in view, or in search of success, in search of something, are we letting down ourselves by not being good human beings? Are we valuing the trouble of others? When we know that somebody is in trouble, are we coming forward to help them? Are we even thinking of them? This is what he says. The moment you start respecting a human being, the moment you start understanding their trouble, the moment you start understanding what they're facing in life, when you're sensitive towards your emotions, that is where we can save the world. But as long as we are selfish, we are thinking only of ourselves, only of our survival, only we are happy, only we are comfortable, I think that is the beginning of the end of this world. So he says each one of us have to stop being like this. We have to think of each other, we have to be kind, and we have to stop being selfish. We have to stop hating others. We have to start respecting and loving each other. Start understanding people and be there for each other as human beings. This is where we can save the world, or else we are going to bring an end to the world. We don't need anything. We don't need any nuclear bomb. We don't need anything which is written in the scriptures. We ourselves, our attitudes are enough to destroy this beautiful world. So children, this is a wonderful poem which is more of an introspection to each one of us here, to every human being in today's society, to think, what are we doing? Why are we selfish this way? Are we truly being a good human being? Or are we just trying to be our own selfish self? So this is very, very important. I think it's a wonderful and beautiful poem written where each one of us can truly understand the essence of our human life, the essence of living, the essence of being kind and good to each other, the essence of understanding each other's problems. It's not that we see that somebody is in trouble and we say, okay, that's not me, so forget it. So, that is selfishness. Let us say you see your neighbor or you hear that somebody is in trouble, and you know, they don't have to even ask you for help. The moment you see that they are suffering, I think your heart and mind should come forward to help them. That is the true human feeling, a kind feeling. So, this is what is needed to save the world, to be kind, to be understanding, to stand for each other in times of trouble. So, this is what the poem says. Let us save the world, or else the world will get destroyed with all the selfishness and hatred in each one of us. Okay, so with this, I end the poem. And let's go to the question answer session. Now, with the question answer session, as always, I want you to write the summary of the poem. And as I say, write a sketch, a proper sketch of what the poem exactly speaks about, so that it will be helpful for you to revise. And I want you to write, do you believe that hatred and selfishness and greed can destroy the world? Do you think selfishness, greed, and hatred can destroy the world? And I want you to write one incident where you have been kind to anybody and it has made a difference in their life. If you have ever helped somebody in your own way possible, it's not money. It can be giving some food or giving a dress or giving a book, anything where you have been helpful to them and it has made a great change, where it has springed up into a wonderful friendship, a Thanksgiving relationship, where you share a bond of more kindness and humanity. So I want you to pen down these two things and realize, children, it's very important to be kind. As human beings, we are the super beings of all creations of God. We are the special creation of God. So being a special creation of God, don't you think we have to be kind to each other? Don't you think we have to understand the suffering of each other? Let it be anybody. When you hear that somebody is in trouble, come forward to do whatever you can, whatever is possible. So let us all start this, trying to be kind to each other, loving, kind, understanding, and sensitive to each other's emotions, not just thinking about I, me, myself. I've heard of many, many incidents where we forget to be kind. It can be we are enjoying an occasion, a festival, and there are probably poor people somewhere around. We can just go and share a tiny bit of what we are having, but we forget. Why we forget? Because we become insensitive. We don't realize that they are also human beings. They need something. Do you understand? So please make a difference. You all are still in your teenage. You'll be tomorrow's citizens, grown up, responsible citizens. You can make a difference in tomorrow's society. It's never late to learn to be something good. So God bless you. Take care. Thank you.